Welcome to Cognitive Behavioral Therapy 101 or CBT 101. This whole section breaks down cognitive behavioral therapy and branches like it, such as rational emotive behavioral therapy. It will give you tools for your everyday life. So in this video, I will explain what is cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT and how is CBT beneficial. So what is CBT? CBT says you feel the way you think. So if you have irrational, negative, and unhelpful thoughts, CBT helps you challenge and replace those thoughts to more positive, rational, and helpful thoughts. And then you'll see this positive ripple effect that will happen to your feelings and behaviors because of changing and challenging those thoughts. So I joke I should tattoo this on my arm because I say it so much. But CBT believes it happens in this order. So there's an activating event, something happens, which leads to a thought, which then leads to a feeling, which then leads to a behavior. So let me repeat that. Basically, we're going through the day and something happens, internally or externally, and it activates this pattern. So it first causes a thought, and that can be subconscious or consciously. We don't always just say, what do I think about that? It just pops up into our mind automatically and might only be there for a second before that leads to a feeling. And then because of those thoughts and those feelings, that leads to us acting in a certain way or behaving in a certain way. So let me give you an example. An activating event is my boyfriend doesn't answer his phone. My thought is he never answers his phone. The feeling is I feel angry. And the behavior is I leave an aggressive voicemail. Well, what people don't realize is that we always have a thought. Again, even if it's subconsciously, even if it's for a second, it's automatic. Again, we don't go, what do I think about my boyfriend not answering his phone? Oh, I think he never answers my phone. It just pops into your mind, right? So the thought, though, is why you feel the way you feel. So for that example, if we can challenge and replace that thought, we'll see a positive ripple effect. So let's go through that example with challenging and replacing that thought. So again, the activating event is my boyfriend doesn't answer his phone. The thought is he must be busy. I'm sure he will call back soon though. I'm feeling disappointed, but hopeful he can call when he can. And the behavior is I leave a sweet voicemail stating that I miss him and I'm looking forward to catching up when he has a few minutes. Thoughts are automatic. Again, they're not your fault what comes into your head. Often it's a pattern our brain jumps to in order to protect ourselves, or that's what it thinks it's doing anyways. It's up to the clients or you to not believe every thought though, because thoughts do not equal facts. It's easier said than done though to catch irrational thoughts in the heat of the moment. I've been there, where irrational thoughts are running me over like a train, and I feel so upset about them that I eat a tub of ice cream before I realize, oh, that was all based on these irrational thoughts. So during my darkest time of depression and anxiety, I went to cognitive behavioral therapy for a week. For a year, I went weekly, and it changed my life. I had to really work hard to catch, challenge, and replace those irrational thoughts. I filled out 7 to 10 ABC worksheets and challenging belief worksheets a week. And I'll go over those soon in some of the videos coming up. I had to retrain my brain to choose a different perspective. Before therapy, I didn't really reflect on what thoughts led to uncomfortable emotions. I didn't backtrack when I acted in unhealthy ways. I didn't ask what thoughts and feelings led to that unhealthy behavior. But now it's my go-to way of thinking, to challenge and replace unhelpful thoughts. So how is CBT beneficial? Well, it gives you practical ways to improve your state of mind on a daily basis. It's an effective tool to help manage stressful situations. Why? Because a lot of our irrational, unhelpful, negative thoughts are what we call cognitive distortions. And everyone has these. But when they're more frequent, it can lead to depression and anxiety symptoms. CBT is actually one of the first therapies that's used for a wide variety of mental illnesses and disorders, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, depression, substance use disorders, anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, etc. So if you don't have any of these disorders, CBT is also a great tool to use because it helps you identify ways to manage emotional issues. It helps you resolve relationship issues and communicate better. It can help you cope with grief and loss. It can help you cope with an illness, particularly for people who struggle with chronic fatigue syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, or fibromyalgia, to name a few. So I want to summarize that cognitive behavioral therapy believes that your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors are all interconnected. And you can learn how to have a positive ripple effect come from your thoughts to your feelings to your behaviors. But the first step in being able to do that is to recognize what are irrational thoughts or cognitive distortions and become more aware of when you are having them. So the next section will go through the main cognitive distortions.